Ladies and gentlemen, it is another episode of Master Phil in your corner with Master Phil.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Master Phil here with Master Phil in your corner. And as always, I'm here with my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh Friedman, at the Undefeated Media Studios. And today's topic will be how to get uncomfortable and why. So you're going to get uncomfortable with us. But prior to getting into the meat of our podcast today, we will, of course, present our shameless plugs. First is the Body Bell Method. It's a minimalist approach to strength and fitness. Kettlebells, body weight, and dynamic tension. The only certification out there with all these three components. There's a $50 discount until September 5th, 2020, this week only. You have to email me at philrossmmakb@gmail.com, and you will get your discount. Another one is American Eagle MMA and Kettlebells, our studio. So we have live classes in person and virtual training as well. For those coming to the studio, we do have COVID prevention methods in place. Survival Strong, books, videos, and certifications. Be sure to get on board. Protect yourself and your family, as well as your home, especially in these crazy times going on.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon Door products and books. Be sure to use the link on philross.com. Kettlebells, videos, and get books. Ferocious Fitness by yours truly is available on the Dragon Door website. UBQ Fit, our revised app for fitness and fun from the security and safety of your own home, hotel room, or personal studio, both for trainers and trainees. Come check us out today. We're going to revolutionize the fitness industry. All right. Before we get into the whole,
Before we get into it, I want to put up the exact. I don't want to be messed up. So Phil Ross MMA KB at gmail.com.
Correct.
I don't want them to miss out because this is a one-time deal here. We're giving a $50 discount. So if you want it, you got to email Master Phil. That's the only way you get it.
Personally.
There you go.
Excellent. So, before we get into making ourselves uncomfortable, I do want to discuss the COVID situation a little bit. I am kind of sick of it, though, at this point, but it does tie into our subject today. So, in my estimation, it's gone beyond the point of reasonableness. Okay. Several reasons. One is this death toll we're being hit with. The death toll. All right. Let's look at it. There's a preposition here. There's a difference between with and from. Yes, we all learned that in grammar school. I don't know what the heck they're teaching right now, but you know what? As far as I know, there's a difference between with and from. And even Dr. Bricks, the one working with the infamous Dr. Anthony Fauci, she even explained that the death numbers are with, not from, because there are documented cases of people getting in motorcycle accidents and then they're listed as a COVID death because they tested positive. It's very, very misleading. And we need to get the truth here. And there are also documented instances of people that I personally know that have gone to a testing facility. I won't mention the state of New York, but that have gone to a testing facility and said, you know what, the line's too long, and left. 4 days later, they get an email saying they tested positive for COVID. Yeah. And
they didn't even get tested.
They didn't even get tested. Positive. Yeah, I know. It's insane. What? I know. So now what the guy does is he calls up the center. They won't answer his calls. They keep hanging up on him. Won't talk to them. So then what he does is he gets 10 friends, relatives, friends, so forth, to go do the same thing. 5 of them did it out of 10. Guess what? The same thing happened. No, they went, registered, left, and got a positive result for not even showing up.
What?
I know, dude. I mean, look, so, we're supposed to trust what's going on. It's Let's let me just talk about my personal journey here. With the
Yeah,
COVID.
please.
Okay, because
I know the story.
You know the story.
This is craziness as well.
Okay, all right. So, back in January, one of my guys at my studio, he had been out to California with his family, and he was there for like 3 weeks. Comes back, so we're doing jiu-jitsu together, training, wrestling, grappling, jiu-jitsu, sparring, everything. Right. About a week since he was home, and then it comes down with a flu. His whole family wiped out for 3-4 days, and even though they got tested for the flu, they didn't have it. Took everyone to get tested. Him, his 3 kids, everyone, but they all were sick. But for a few days, nothing major. So he comes back, and we start training again, like business as usual, and then the COVID situation hits, but I was actually in California at the time. I was out in LA in the belly of the beast from March 10th to March 15th. I was there. I was out moving about, watching places get closed down left and right. Met with people, saw my friends, went out, this, that, and the other thing. And so I was there, and I flew back. Flew back into Newark Airport. So we get shut down on the 16th.
Friday the 13th.
No, they actually said 8 o'clock on Monday the 16th. They shut down facilities.
Gotcha.
8 o'clock, and I was like, well, I guess hardly anybody showed up for class. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So I'd already had already had it set up where I pivoted, and I provided 2 kettlebells, a small one and a large one for each of my kettlebell students, and then I led classes virtually. Did that for like 3.5-4 months. And hey, listen, the first 2 weeks, like they said, shut down. I had no problem whatsoever. They saw me, I had the goggles on, the mask. Because I said, listen, I go, people they're walking around with a mask. It's not enough because your eyes are mucous membranes. They're easily permeated. The gloves, the whole thing. And then they kept moving the goalpost, and I kind of started getting annoyed, right? And then I started delving into the situation. Listen, I'm not here to say that the COVID-19 cannot be deadly, because it is. Obviously, it's deadly. But is it as deadly as we're being told? And are we being told to do the right things with it 100%? So I really don't know. But let's go back to my personal experiences. So I was out and about the whole time. I went out every single day. I was out every day. And then 4 weeks ago, I drove to Maine. I stopped in New Hampshire, see one of my buddies, and then I went to Maine by my son, hung out with him. We were out at the beach, restaurants, eating indoors, everything. Get back. Oh, by the way, let's roll back. In May, the guy I was wrestling with during his, supposedly spreading period, infectious period of the COVID, he and his wife both tested positive for the antibodies in May. So I figured, hey, maybe I have it. Because also my department head at the college was out sick for 2 weeks at the end of January, beginning of February, with the same symptoms, and her office is right next to mine. I used to see her every day. So anyway, they test positive. So I'm like, maybe I should go. So I go take a test. Nothing. No antibodies. Nothing. Okay. So I drive to Florida with my oldest daughter about 2 weeks ago, and stopped in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina. I had dinner in restaurants. I was out in bars, hanging out, just like a normal time. Got on a plane and flew back. So my wife had picked me up at the airport. After a few days, I went and I took the quick swab test, right? Nothing. Clean. So I'm like, all right, let me take another test. and I took one the other day, Wednesday, and got the results back. Guess what? Nothing. Zilch. Ninguno. Niente. Okay? Nothing. No antibodies, no infection. All right.
I know you want it too. You really want it.
Oh,
so you beat its ass.
Exactly. I want to take COVID by the throat, smash it, and just show it what's up. But you know what? It's afraid. COVID is afraid. I'm challenging COVID right now. People might think I don't care. Think what you want. All right. I am not afraid of this. And I'm not.
I know.
Okay. And I'm not spreading it. I don't have it. I've not given it to anyone. I've been around my mother who's in her 80s. I've been around many people. I do not have this. And evidently it bounces off of me for some reason. So let's talk about that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Even though let's give it the fact that there's 170,000 deaths attributed. Oh, no, not attributed, but to people with COVID in this country. We don't really know how many people died from COVID, but we know that 170,000 died with COVID. Mm-hmm. That's still about one half of the deaths in this country attributed directly to a sedentary lifestyle. One half. How come nobody's screaming about that as an epidemic? You know why? Because
you have to do something. You have to put in work.
Yeah, well, work, and that's where we're leading to. Work is something to do with it. But you know what? We're being hit with these signals that tell us that we don't need to do that. Take this pill, eat this food, do this, and it's killing people. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm not here to rank on people and say, oh, get out there, you're weak, they're soft. But you know what? We are weak and soft. And why? Because we've permitted ourselves to be put in this situation because we're all afraid to get uncomfortable. But you know what? By the end of this podcast, you're going to relish being uncomfortable because when you make yourself uncomfortable, it makes you strong. When you make yourself strong, you make yourself resilient. When you make yourself resilient, you're independent. You're reliant upon yourself and not someone else. And this is my goal. I want to equip people. I want to equip the people in our country with the tools to become self-reliant and not dependent upon the others, in particular, our government. So let's face it, as Americans, we're soft. Our lives are far too cushy, and unfortunately, we're headed down the same path as the ancient Greeks and Romans. I mean, you look at the demise of those great civilizations. I mean, the progress that they made, the things that they did. I mean, we're still to this day dependent upon the things that the Greeks and Romans brought us. But the decadence and easy lifestyles led to their downfall. Why? Too much free time. I mean, if you look at it right now, how many people are sitting there, on social media, doing Twitter fights and this, that, and the other thing, instead of, hey, you know what? Pick up a hobby, learn a language. We're going to 10 years from now. Hey, I made posts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Yeah. What'd you really accomplish? I mean, now if you're making money from it, making a career, well, God bless you. Roll with it. But if you just sit there, just throwing things out there for recognition, what is that? What are you going to be left with in 10 years? Have you accomplished anything in that decade? So why? Because it's easy to go on social media. It's easy. It's hard to learn a language. It's hard to read a book. Okay. So we're looking at, it seems that with this decadence and easy lifestyle, people are forgetting that as humans, we need challenges and purpose to survive and thrive. If you look at all of the different progressions in life, anything that has been developed because something was hard. Okay. I mean, things that are difficult Situations that are difficult force us to adapt. If we don't adapt, if we don't embrace these challenges, we have no need to progress. It's the same thing with your musculoskeletal system. You're not going to get stronger by not doing your push-ups, sit-ups, work it out. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen by just laying there. You have to do something. You have to challenge the system. And of course, I know I've brought this up before too, but so is your immune system needs to be challenged.
True.
So there's some credence to the notion of idle hands are the hands of the devil. So why is this? Why? Because when people have it too easy, they get bored and they're going to look for excitement somewhere. And, a lot of them will create their own excitement. And if we have it too easy and it's too built up, they're going to tear things down. Look what's happening right now. Idle hands are the hands of the devil, man. If people had to show up for work or actually do something in school or if they were busy doing something positive, you think they'd be running around tearing down statues and burning down buildings? I mean, who's got the time or inclination for that? And it'll bring me back to this. Listen, when we were back in the day, as man was beginning his civilized society, prior to that even, we were running around the forest, getting chased by saber-toothed tigers and battling cave bears. We didn't need to look for additional excitement. We're just trying to survive. Yeah. So that leads us to the question: why is this so? Why? Why have humans, especially civilized people, continually falling into this trap again? Okay. For starters, people and in particular our younger set, they don't know, nor do they study history, in this current climate. I mean, you look at the history, what are they doing with the real history? We're trying to tear down any remembrance of our history, abolish the books, tear down the statues, and you're doomed to repeat yourself if you do not learn from the mistakes. Look, I mean, how many times you have to invent the wheel? Okay, it's invented once, you learn from it and move on. That certain things do not work. Why are we looking at adopting them again? Why is this? Because we're failing to look at our history, and we want to take the easy route out. I mean, so look at this with our development. Okay, basically we're soft. Okay,
participation trophies.
That's also in here too. The participation trophies. We talked about that. And just looking at this, even before we get into that, things that were once luxury items are now necessities. Okay. Okay. Take air conditioning. Okay.
Running water.
Okay. They're necessities now. Look, I know when I was in college and I lived in this not so great apartment, we didn't have air conditioning. I had a fan, open a window, take a cold shower before I went to bed. Okay. And it's so funny because we have too much stuff, too much easy access. So, every time that there's a little bump, a little blip, everyone falls apart. Because they've had it too easy. Why? Because of participation trophies. Because of way people were put up. Look at this here. Air conditioning. Okay? And heating. Before you used to have to make your own heat. Now we just flip a switch. I mean, we have a power outage. What happens? Everyone freaks out. Okay? And look, what do? We sit. Most people spend most of their time sitting. You sit. And then you sit again. You get in your car, you drive, you sit. You drive somewhere else to sit. You come home, you sit and watch Netflix or whatever else. You're sitting. Your life is too easy. Look what happened back in the day. I mean, we didn't have people cutting our lawns. We cut our lawns, right? I mean, these kids nowadays, I mean, they don't shovel driveways. I mean, I used to love it.
Yeah,
I used to love it.
I was making money.
Right. In the winter, I'd shovel driveways. In the fall, I'd rake leaves. And in the spring and summer, I'd be cutting lawns. Yeah. I mean, look, I look at my grandmother, and heck, man, she always had dust rag in her hand, moving around the whole time, vacuuming, dusting, picking things up, moving. I mean, she was going. She lived to 92 years old. I look at my grandfather, lived to 94. He was always out walking, gardening, clipping things, doing stuff. Keep him moving. I mean, he used to cut the lawn at the first aid, and the guy was like 88 years old, pushing a lawnmower. He was just doing it. How many 10-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids do that now?
Not.
Exactly. They're not. They're not. And that's like, if we look at this current situation, I'm also going to make this assertion that due to our weaknesses, we're easily controlled by the fear of COVID. Now, look at how people avoid each other now. And this is destroying people emotionally, psychologically. It's not good, and it's all brought by fear. And you know why? We had the fear because we're soft. Okay, and no one wants to address this because it's not politically correct. Nobody wants to address this. And you know what? It's getting worse and worse. Look at the kids. Kids are sheltered far too much. And then some kids are just left completely on their own devices, and they're like, this will be raised by wolves. You look at it from participation trophies to helicopter parents and snowplow parents. Even you have the helicopter parents hovering over the kid every Tuesday. Oh my God, Sally's going to get hurt. Oh Johnny, whatever. And then you have snowplow parents that go in front of their child. Hopefully, they never have to ever have any conflict or adversity in their life. Hey man, when we were kids, that's how we solve problems. Most of the kids I got in fights with became my best friends. You get in a fight, you have a disagreement, then all of a sudden you're best pals. Now you get in a fight. Oh my gosh, anger management. This one suing that one. You're going to be thrown out of the school. You got the bully thing. I mean, it's out of control. We're being taught to be sheeple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, that's why you see some of these people that are just walking around with the masks on, and they're driving in their car with a mask on. I mean, really? I call them maskers. So, and then you go to the doctor. You've been to check up?
Not really. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, anytime you go, I'll tell you. Once you get to a certain age,
you go on a regular basis.
I go every year. Okay. My doc, she thinks I'm awesome, so she's like, she says I'm her most fit,
of course,
patient, of course. And then it's funny whenever I fill those things out, I'm on no prescriptions whatsoever. But have you seen the questionnaire? And those people who've been to the doctor or anything will know what I'm talking about. They ask you about your mental state. And if you're depressed or if you have trouble sleeping, this, that, and the other thing. And what they're getting at is the next step. If you fill those things out, they want you on an SSRI.
Yeah, because it's money for them.
Right. Yeah. So, because I've had many of my clients and students, so forth, say to me, yeah, the doctor wanted me to, go on this, little anxiety, and all of a sudden they want you on an antidepressant. I mean, look, life is not steady state. Look at the ocean. Does the ocean just sit there? No. Ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. I mean, look, even when you drive, sometimes you go fast, sometimes you go slow, sometimes you stop, you start. I mean, look at relationships. I mean, we both are in monogamous relationships, and does everything always go well with your significant other? Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then when you get back together, it's really awesome. Okay. So everything, it's ebb and flow, give and take, up and down. It's not just going to be a steady state. And that seems to be what they're trying to achieve. And it's unachievable.
You're not always going to get your way.
No, you can't be in a steady state of euphoria. No, you're going to have to give and take. Sometimes you give, sometimes you take. Yeah. And it's people have to know that this is to be expected. Okay. And, hey, how are we going to address this? How are we going to combat this? How are we going to make ourselves uncomfortable? And you say, well, gosh, why? I don't want to be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is uncomfortable. Okay. But you know what? If you look at it this way too, there's stress. People talk about, oh, stress. But there's eustress. Eustress is good stress, stress that you need, stress to release the dopamine, release the endorphins in your system. That's going to help elevate your mood. That will help release the stress of the day or the stress of a situation. Those are good stressors, things that are going to get your heart rate up, things that are going to test your muscles, things that are going to challenge your mind. These are positive stressors. This eustress is something that we really need in a society. But you're not going to get eustress sitting there doing nothing. You're just going to get more stress, the bad stress. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to go and do things that are going to make you uncomfortable. I'll tell you, some things I purposely do. I purposely will jump in a cold shower. Why? Do I have to? Do I have heat? Mm-hmm. Yes. But you know what? I go in the cold shower. Why? I want to shock my system. I want to be uncomfortable. Okay? Look, when I go in the ocean, everyone tiptoes in the water. So I jump right in. Right? I'm used to it. I'm used to that shock. Mm-hmm. Okay? I like making myself uncomfortable. Because being uncomfortable prepares you. It keeps you humble too.
And it's showing your body who's boss. Your mind controls your body, not the body controlling you.
Yes, you're in control. And that's what I'm here to talk to everyone about. Being in control of your body, of your mind, and your destiny. Because if you don't control your own destiny, somebody else will. And look at what's going on now. Look at what's going on. Our destinies are being dictated to us. And you know what? Because we're weak. And we're soft.
We're letting it happen.
We're letting it happen because we're afraid. And you know what? That's a great motivator is fear. Mm-hmm. And people are afraid. But you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be. And look, I don't expect you to all of a sudden tomorrow just take it on the world. No, but you know what? Do it in increments. Build your confidence. Build your belief in yourself. Know that you can handle it. Look, let's just look at spending. Okay? Mm-hmm. People take the credit card, slap it down. Okay? Boom. Oh, I want this coat. I want this pocketbook. I want those pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. They slap down the credit card and, the bill comes, I'll pay the minimum, whatever it is. No, it's wrong. Wrong way to do it. Okay? What you do is you only buy what you can afford in your budget. But people don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to do. They don't want to exercise discipline. Yeah. Okay. And this is what you have to do. You have to discipline yourself. You have to challenge yourself. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. I'll tell you, I wrote a blog on this a number of years ago, and it had to do with running. I hate running, but I do it. Mm-hmm. Why? Why do you do something you hate? I'm going to harken back to one of my first martial arts instructors, Pat Finley. He's a kinesiology, doctor of kinesiology down in Howard Community College. He runs a department there, and he's also the head of the American Lithway group, which I'm an instructor in. Lithway is 9 points of combat. Mm-hmm. 2 feet, 2 knees, 2 elbows, 2 fists, and your head. So, hey, listen, you always want to use your head in a fight. So, and you know what? He told me that when you're training, you should always do something that you hate to do. Okay? Why is that? Well, I'll tell you. When you're sitting there and you know that you're running, you're doing your road work and you detest it. I know that when I'm in combat and I'm facing someone and I know what I sacrificed to be able to beat them when things are going not so great for me, because in a lot of fights, sometimes things don't go your way. And you're not going to give up because of what you sacrificed. If things come easy to you, things are given to you. You have no skin in the game. If you have no skin in the game, what's your incentive? You don't have it. You don't have it. So when you have some skin in the game, you have put forth, you have sacrificed, you're going to want to keep it much more. Listen, if you're in a marriage and you put everything into that marriage and you try your best and you're doing the right thing, heck, you know what? You're not going to give it up, are you? If you have a house, if someone just gives you a house, oh yeah, great, awesome. But you know what? You didn't earn it. You didn't put anything into it. You haven't made it yours. So how much are you going to value it? Who pays for your car?
I pay for everything.
Right. Okay.
Even since I was little, I want to shovel snow, mow lawns if I wanted. So like the first big thing I ever wanted was like a drum set. Mm-hmm. My parents said, all right, go mow some lawns and shovel some snow. Mm-hmm. Go get it yourself. Like nothing was ever really handed to me. And you value it more and you want more. All the equipment here, worked hard to build up my equipment. I don't even leave anything in the studio. It all comes home with me. I basically sleep with it because God forbid I lose anything. You know what I mean? You
value it because you have skin in the game.
Got a lot of skin in the game.
Right. You sacrificed. If you don't sacrifice, if you have no skin in the game, if you've taken the easy way, you're not going to have any value in it, and it's not going to mean anything to you.
True.
Look, I mean, I remember certain times, I'd actually purposely go. I mean, I went in the snow a lot. Mm-hmm. It's very cold, but I go out in the snow, go with my dogs, go with my kids. I used to hunt in the snow. I used to climb up in a tree, sit there with a bow and arrow. I'd be covered with ice, 25 feet in the air. Okay. Ice raining down on me, okay, and sitting in my tree stand, okay, motionless for hours. Do you think that's easy? No. I'm putting myself in that position, though. Okay. Here, look at this. Look at these different starvation diets and intermittent fasting. I actually call it intermittent starving. Okay. But I think it works great. I mean, it is good. You have to kind of figure out what's going to work for you in particular. Mm-hmm. That's why there's no cookie cutter. Oh, do this and it's great. I say the same thing about working out. Look, I love doing what I do because it's the best stuff on the planet. But I love doing what I do because it works for me, and I love doing it. Mm-hmm. And I like the result I get. Actually, I like the result more than doing it, to tell you the truth. But I've gotten accomplished at it, and I know I'm going to do it with regularity. And you have to find that mode of fitness training that will help you. But the starvation diet, I call it starvation. Intermittent starving, because I'm pretty hungry when I'm doing this. But you know what? I'm denying myself the pleasure of food and putting it off. Here, look at this. Let's say this. You haven't eaten much all day. You're working outside, doing a workout. You're working on your yard. You're cutting trees down, whatever you're doing, right? If somebody brings you a bowl of cold, fresh strawberries, you're going to love that person, won't you? Right? You're like, wow, this is awesome, right? This is great. Now, let's say you've been sitting on your duff watching Netflix, and you're sitting there eating a piece of chocolate cake. Somebody comes to you with that same bowl.
I'm not going to have room for the strawberries.
Exactly. It's not going to mean the same. Yeah. Exactly. And this is the point I'm trying to make. When you have ebb and flow, when you have deprivation, the other things mean much more. Look. Okay, here. People sit back and they say, gosh, how come that sports star or that Hollywood star or whatever, or that rich guy with all that money, how come they got into drugs? How come they threw it all away? How come they did this? How come they did that? I'm going to tell you why. Because they stopped. They either never knew or they lost the notion of sacrifice. They lost the notion of humility. they did not challenge themselves anymore. They did not put themselves in bad positions anymore. They did not feel uncomfortable. So what did they do? When you're very comfortable, what do you have to do then? You have to seek other things to stimulate you. You get bored. When you get bored, you get in trouble. You do bad things.
True.
Okay? So, you have to challenge yourself. I'll tell you, like, here, I read about this challenge. I talk about it, I believe, in Survival Strong, where I read that Indian braves, Native American braves, I forget the exact tribe. I think it was Sioux or Cherokee or something. I mean, I don't quote me on that. I could be 100% wrong. But I remember it was like a known Native American, really hardcore warrior tribe. Okay. And they would take, one of the tests was they take a mouthful of water, a cup of water, put it in their mouth, and run 2 miles without drinking the water, without swallowing
spitting it out.
And they spit it back in the cup when they got back.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow, that's pretty hard piping. Let me try that. So I did it. Took my 2 mile time was not that great. I'll tell you that much. And then and a couple years later, I did it again just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. But it's not easy to do.
I bet.
I mean, you can only breathe through your nose.
That's crazy.
I know it's a hardcore. But you know what? Test yourself. Test yourself. Here I'm going to get away from the fitness aspect and talk about an employment situation. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he was just a regular guy. Just never did do great in school and college. And but graduated and so forth. Got himself a decent sales job. Same sales job as 90% of the other guys who came out of college, getting back in the time, selling paper, and then he got into another company. And when he was working for one of the other companies, I believe he went and he wanted to get into the pharmaceutical sales industry. He wanted to get in there. He saw the future in there for whatever reason. And he staked out the company. He staked them out. And he just was kept persistence. He sacrificed. He made himself uncomfortable. That's not a comfortable position. Keep pushing yourself, throwing yourself in front of people. I mean, that's there's a lot of rejection, right? You're being told no, and yet you keep coming back. It's not comfortable being told no.
True.
Okay, no matter how many times it happens, it's not comfortable, and you just gotta say, okay, keep your resolve. So eventually, he wound up getting hired by this company.
Nice.
And he wound up killing it. Now, he was doing so well that his manager didn't want to make more money than him, which he was at the time. So the manager kept giving him stock options, thinking I'm going to prevent this guy from making more money than me. I'll just keep giving him stock options. Best thing ever. The company got purchased. He got a 7-figure settlement. Dude, 7-figure settlement. And this is like 1993 or something. I mean, it was killer. And then it just led him to more and more gigs. I mean, and then he wound up doing he did more 7-figure and even 8-figure settlements. Just kept getting into these prescription companies and plans. So forth. I mean, the guy's younger than me. He's been retired forever. And I'm still punching bags and swinging kettlebells. But I mean, look at that. He sacrificed. He made himself uncomfortable. And look what happens. Now, I mean, the old saying that the turtle doesn't get anywhere until he sticks his neck out. Because they move slowly, and you gotta go for it. You gotta be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to stick your neck out. You gotta take the chances. You have to be uncomfortable. So, what are some of the things that people can do? Well, one of them, I'll tell you, what do I do every morning, Doug?
Well, I have it right here. Let's pull it up. Push-ups, squats, sit-ups, bridges every day. Every day.
Now, some days I do more than others, but I always get them in. I also added in the neck there, and I do some one leg work.
That's when you get to the gym. This is like right when you get out of bed. You're doing it right next to the bed.
Boom. get up, boom, good to go. It's kind of funny because now I got half the time I got Lulu trying to lick my face when I'm doing my abs and get under me when I'm doing my push-ups. I have to make her sit and stay, which is cool. But Lulu is my dog, not like my wife or anything. So, hit the morning workout. Guys, it jumpstarts your day. And you know what? Whoever gets out of bed last makes the bed in the house because it's good to form those habits. Sacrifice, to exercise your discipline. Okay, and another thing I'll do too is, you want to count by tens when you're working out. Okay, especially when you're doing push-ups or squats, something like that, abdominals. Count by tens. Look, 'cause if you're going to do 50 push-ups, I mean, sometimes it's a little daunting. And, you start counting and it's like, wow, it's hard. But if you keep counting to 10 every time, it's not so bad.
Not so bad.
Yeah, you kind of trick yourself a little bit. Another thing I do to trick myself is I skip rope a lot. I skip rope virtually every day. And when I was competing, don't ask me why I picked this number. I have no idea why I came up with it. It's just, I just happened to use the number 32. I would skip rope for 32 minutes. Okay. Not an easy task. But what I would do is I would trick myself again. Yeah, so I'm not so smart, so I can trick myself pretty easily. What I would do is I would take 2 to 3 songs and loop them. And just keep playing them over and over again. So I kind of think I'm still in the same song or the same few songs.
And all of a sudden,
32 minutes is up. It's just getting into that rhythm, getting to that zone. And the thing is that everyone can do this. There's zero special about me. The only thing is that I make myself feel uncomfortable. So,
I got one for you. I got a short story for you. So in Hohokus, I went to Hohokus Public School, and they have this jump rope day. They have a jump for your heart or whatever day. Yeah. Right. So they bring out this chalkboard. It's been sitting in the back. Every year they bring out the same chalkboard out, and there's records. And as long as you're jump roping, you can continue to go the entire day. Yeah. Until gym class starts, you start going, you try to break these records, right? Well, I had a test the next period. Oh, yeah. I know where this is going. So I decided it would be very beneficial for me to break the jump rope record. So I jumped literally for like 3 periods straight. No way. Yes. Didn't stop. And the person counting for me too got to miss class too. So he's just sitting there. He's like, yeah, keep going. Keep going. So yeah, I didn't have to take that. I think it was a history class, history test. Yeah, I did not want to take that test. But mind over matter. Yeah, and it's not like I'm a jump rope king. No, I jumped rope for like 3 hours straight, and other classes are coming in. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" I say, it is mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. True. So, what we're trying to do is tell people this is that they can take control. Everyone out there, guys, you can take control of your destiny. You can take control of your life through action. And you know what? It doesn't have to be something crazy. If you can't do a push-up, do some planks. Or do push-ups on an elevated surface. Do them off your bed. Grab onto the footboard and do some push-ups there. Or go on a stair, do some push-ups. I have tons of things on my YouTube channel regarding this. You definitely want to check out Master Phil on YouTube and peruse through the Master Phil mode.
Master Phil mode, man. We're having some fun. We got a bunch more coming out.
Oh, we have tons of them.
Tons of them. And we're getting those out there. We're also going to be putting them up on Rumble too, right?
Yep. Good, absolutely.
Good. Yeah. So you can find Master Phil there as well, but take control through action. And you know what? You're in control. People don't realize how much they are in control. And the more that we do this as a nation, we're going to feel more empowered. Because listen, when you're strong, you feel empowered. When you're healthy, you feel empowered. This is one of the other things I'm talking about as far as your immune system. Okay? Build that immune system. And this is one thing that I wish that our government would promote Okay, it's great to wash your hands, but clean. Don't spit on people or cough and sneeze on them. Of course, you shouldn't do that anyway. But how about being proactive? How about taking a probiotic, get your gut health right? How about taking liquid minerals? How about getting vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B complex? How about taking these measures to make yourself stronger? Limit your alcohol. Don't smoke. Don't.
So yeah, 21st century. I mean,
I know.
I don't know.
We know it's not good for us.
Yeah, it's like,
we know it's not good for us.
I don't know.
So, and I know there's a big push for marijuana, and that's is it a better alternative than taking opioids for certain people? Yes, but you have to be cautious with that because now they are finding, and I'll tell you, I said this like 20, 30 years ago. They are finding links between marijuana use and autism.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
So
think
like,
about it.
So like what for the person who's consuming it or for like their offspring?
Offspring.
Okay.
So, and they're especially finding it with women who, having children, so forth. Mostly it's women doing that, right? What happens is that your chromosomes through, using marijuana, and look, some people can use it their whole life and be fine. Some people, I know people able to handle doing cocaine and they're fine. They do whatever. I'm not recommending it, but look, some people who can drink and they're fine. They don't get addicted. They don't get hungover. They don't, but you have to look at the numbers, the mass numbers, okay, and the potential. Your chromosomes do get damaged through the use of marijuana. Okay, they do.
Interesting.
So that has been that study's been out for years.
Well, I'm not like playing devil's advocate or contradicting or anything like that. There's just so much from different angles. Like you have like what you're saying, it's damaging, and then you'll have someone say that it cures Alzheimer's.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Cures Alzheimer's. It's not going to cure it. It will alleviate some symptoms on some people. But
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Right.
Some people say it's like the best thing ever, and it's healthy, and you have some studies that say.
Yeah, but I must digress. I did say that there are instances when its use is warranted. Look, if someone is trying to stave off Alzheimer's, I don't think they're going to be having kids. So the chances of
probably past that point,
right? They're a little past that. So I think it's okay. It's okay. And listen,
it's going to
light up, baby. And look, but if the choice between taking a marijuana product, CBD or whatever, and taking an opioid, I'm going to go with the marijuana selection. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I'm just talking about, the notion that we're putting it forth as a healthy practice. Okay, it's not. And again, some people have no problem, but there's a lot of psychosis caused by overuse of marijuana,
and everything. Too much vitamin A is bad for you.
Right.
Anything you take you take too much of it's going to be bad.
Look, anything you put into your system, there's a chance of repercussions. So if I'm putting something that's not good for me in my system, it's not gonna bode well for me. No. Look, I'll tell you, I drink alcohol. Do I drink every day? Absolutely not. Do I drink to excess? No. But do I partake? Absolutely. There's some. I'm sure there's some risk benefits. There's some risk to that, but there's also some benefits to it. So you have to find your balance. And everybody's a little different too.
That's what I was about to say. Like what works for you might not work for someone else. Like, and your personality and your habits. You could probably handle some things and someone else could get hooked.
Right.
I fractured my jaw in college playing lacrosse. I was fractured and I was wired shut. And they gave me, it was like Roxicodone, whatever. It was like this most hardcore painkiller to take on a regular basis. Like every couple hours, I would take. It was a liquid form, whatever. My personality, when I ran out or was done, it was done. I wasn't fiending for it. But someone else, you give them a taste of that, they're hooked for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's different. And that's what that's a huge problem right now, where everybody's different. Not everyone has the same experience as you. And that's what we're seeing right now. And like people, someone might have had a bad experience in a certain area with a certain person. And now they think everyone's that and they put them in a box. So,
that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Yeah. Talking about the drugs is that when I shattered my leg in 3 places and, they had me on, they had me on opioids. And I had one every X amount of hours. I mean, I had 10 screws in a 5-inch plate.
That doesn't feel good.
No. I mean, actually, it was a real low point in my life. I was separated, living in a basement. That actually brings me to another story. Living in a cop's basement, and like it was just terrible. And I'm laying there. And they gave me another 60 milligram hit every so often when I needed it, for pain. I did it for like 3 days when I got out of the hospital, and I stopped. Why? I'm sitting there on the couch by myself, watching these giant rats and cats chase each other around the house. I mean, they weren't there, but I was imagining they were there. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know that they're really not there. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go off of this stuff. But it's really funny because then, when we talk about like necessities as opposed to luxuries, another story is funny because when I first got separated and I moved into this cop's basement, because, I had to leave the house because that's the way it goes. So my mother was going to drop some stuff off for me. She goes, "Oh, I need a key to your apartment. I want to drop some stuff off." And I said, "Ma, that's all right. Just go in. Door's open." She goes, "What do you mean? The door's open? What if someone's going to steal stuff from you?" I go, "Ma, don't worry about it. I'm separated. I got nothing. Everything's gone already. Just go in, drop off the sandwiches, and I'll be fine."
Make sure to lock it when you leave, because now I got sandwiches.
I got sandwiches in there. And it's funny because that put me to the realization that I didn't really need much because I had nothing, and yet I was ridiculously happy. So I'm like, these things are luxuries. I'm used to this house. I had, a boat, motorcycle, all kinds of crazy stuff. Right? I had nothing. And I used to basically live out of my backpack. I had this crappy little basement apartment. Actually, it was nice for what it was, but I said, what do I really need in life? You really don't need that much, and that's the thing that we as Americans have to realize, that we really don't need as much as we think we do. And you look at the advertisers, right? They push that we need this, we need that. Yeah, they just want to make sales, man.
100%.
They don't care what people really need. And what we have to do is exercise discipline, both physically and financially. The 2 F's. Physical and fiscal discipline. And you know what? You're going to be happier. And you know what else? You're going to appreciate things more. Because, hey, listen, if you go and you sacrifice all week and you don't eat the dessert, right? Well, you know what? On that Saturday night or that Friday night, when you have that piece of chocolate cake or you have your pizza or whatever, that's awesome. But you know what? I don't look at that as a cheat. I look at it as a reward, because cheating gives it as a bad connotation. Whereas reward, hey, I was good.
Yeah. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do the agony again, right, so I can get the reward again.
Exactly. Listen, man, when you're doing your push-ups, your sit-ups, your squats, your pull-ups, you're working out hard, guess what? guess what? You're going to like the result.
Yeah.
You know, when you put in the time and you're doing your walking, you're hitting it religiously, you're getting your cardio, your strength training, you're moving your body, you're going to like the result. But again, as I said this before, there's 90 days of suck.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And you have to make sure that you're prepared for those 90 days, those 3 months, but you will exact results from that.
And going back to when you were the happiest and with nothing,
Yeah.
a lot of people are trying to get the boat or trying to get the bike or trying to get just to impress people around them. They don't even want it. It's more like to keep up with the Joneses
Exactly.
kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
find what makes you happy and put your time and effort into that. Like, I'm lucky that this is my hobby is also my job. Like,
Right.
this is the stuff I enjoy. So the money that I get, I invest it right into my business. I don't waste money. I'm not going out every night and spending it on drinks or the club or whatever. Like, that's done.
Well, we can't anymore right now.
Sure.
In New Jersey anyway.
Sure.
You got to go to Florida for that or Maine.
Exactly. But like, there's no things that I'm wasting money on. You find what you love to do, find what you're passionate about, or what makes you happy, and don't, who cares what anyone else thinks or like keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the thing is that you have to feel good about what you're doing and who you are. And you know what?
Which is confidence.
It's confidence. Look in the mirror. Do I like what I see? And you know what? If you don't, well, let's change it. Let's do something about it. But you can change it. You can change it yourself. Don't rely on somebody else to do it, because never will. Again, I'm going to go back to this. If you don't choose your destiny, someone else will. So it's got to come from you. It's got to come from inside of you. And you can do it. Everyone out there can do it. And it's not that hard, but it just takes consistency. Remember that consistency is the key.
100%.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have any?
No question,
No
but
question.
people are liking and watching and
Right,
enjoying
good
it.
stuff. Well, guys, feel free to hit me up with a question later on. And don't forget about our Body Bell Method special going on until September 5th. And look forward to seeing you online or in the studio.
And there you go. That's your email address. Contact Master Phil directly for a $50 discount.
Off an already incredible low price.
True story.
All right. Well, this is Master Phil with Dougie Fresh Friedman, and we're signing off. Master Phil in your corner, strength and honor.
Come on. There we go.